Hello. So today's demo is going to be how to make perfect, beautiful templates for slab building using the online cone generator templates. So this demo will be a mix of me talking just a little bit in the beginning, and then I'm going to do a screen recording of actually how to make this on this computer, especially for folks that are not super tech savvy, that it's really easy and doable. And then we'll be using these templates as an option for making a slab built mug later, either this weekend or next week, for folks that want to know then how to use these. So the next step will be screen video, and then I'll show you how to assemble it once we've printed it out. Okay, so you're going to use this templatemaker.nl. You can also Google cone template makers and find your own, but I like this website the best out of a few that I was trying to navigate. Click the units that you like. So I typed in inches because I use that the most, and then you can update the diameter in live time. So I just pressed enter and it gave me a zoom out version. So if you don't want that to happen, just put in your number and then click to the side so that it doesn't do that. And then it will change as soon as it registers that number. And it's a great way to explore how different shapes are going to be based on different diameter and curvature. So I would play around with that for a little bit, adjust which height you'd like. A mug, typically you want its height to be probably between 3 and 5 inches as most standard, so keep that in mind when you're thinking about mugs and cups, if that might be the case. So now that I have my shape set, I'm going to change to US letter so that it's easy for me to print. And once I click that, it's going to open up the tiles section. So click that and it's going to grid it out into multiple segments that are easy to print. Click create. And then you have your template chopped up in easy ways that are printable and easy to align. All right, I hope the screen video of everything is easy and straightforward for people to understand. The website that I used was templatemaker.nl. I would recommend Googling that and then looking for one of them. Some of them just have like a bogged down amount of like ads and weird formatting that makes no sense. So spend a little time shopping around for which generator works for you. And now that your template is printed out, I'm going to show you how to attach it. So for this one, I just taped it and cut it out. A good idea though, if you know that you really like this form or it's something that you've repeated before, is saving notes on that. And if you have like craft foam, like a large piece of craft foam, and you can sketch this out and then recut out that foam, that's a really great candidate to have something more long-term. If you know that you love it when it's at like this stage and you're like, oh, I've worked with a template very similar, I think I'll really like it, and you have a home laminator, you could always laminate the pages before and then tape them with like packaging tape. But this just straight printer paper won't last very long. It's more like an experiment, and then transfer that shape onto something a little bit more sturdy if it's something you want to keep and reuse over and over. But now that I have my template here, the way that this particular website formats it is that the lines are going to overlap. You can see there's this like faint blue line. They're going to overlap on that blue margin and connect in the red. So the first thing I'm going to do is just cut out along the red and then line it up and tape it. So, you know, nothing too fancy. This one's a little bit easier. I changed this template to be a shorter diameter to show you for the top piece. And I didn't want to have you watch me just cut paper forever. So I just made sure that it was a 2-piece, while this one was a 3-piece one that I attached. So I just wanted to make it a little less complicated. And I'm not being like super finicky about this. I guess if it's something you want to reuse, definitely spend your time making sure you got the lines right. But I usually end up kind of slightly miscutting it anyway once I actually am cutting into the clay, so I don't need my template to be like the most magical thing. So now it's gonna look like this, which you can't just line up like that because that makes no frickin' sense. So you're gonna need to match that blue and blue part. And sometimes it's like a little bit of maneuvering. They don't like always line up magically. I kind of use the margin and then go back to my red lines as the main guide, instead of, if I just relied on the margins, it still wouldn't have like something that made that much sense. So you will have to tweak it just a hair, but this is way easier than trying to eyeball draw this out and then cut it. I find that the generators really help create like a nice form that makes more geometric sense than when we just try to go for it and we can keep cutting and cutting forever. So once it's lined up, I'm just gonna put some shipping tape on there. Oop. You could glue it too, but tape works just fine as well. It's whatever you got on hand right now. We're working with what we got. Okay, and I'm gonna make a little slit because this is over the curve so that I can curl that down and curl that down. So now I have another template that is nice and beautiful form, and I can play with the difference between this one where they overlap just a little bit. See how it's more like conal shape, while this one is a 3-inch diameter. This one has definitely more of a cylindrical feel with just like a slight tapering in. So I wouldn't judge them until you're able to bend them, and that's why it's nice to kind of decide what you like and then take it in. I could always do this, be like, you know, I like it, but I actually want it to be shorter and have it go in more. So I could either go back to my template generator, print that out, or I could just do like a little snip on each side and play with that. It depends on how formal you want this to be, or if you know that you're like looking for making a repeat form. But I hope that making some fun templates is helpful for everybody, and I'll be showing you what you can do with them making slab built mugs here soon. So stay tuned. That will be coming probably in a few days.